Alright, konnichiwa, tajaha, wushu, ron, LS, and welcome back to my podcast. So this time, as you can see, wait, I'm going to move myself for a little bit. There you are. Now, as you can see, this time we are going to talk about cosplay photographers. Now, we've heard a lot of things from the cosplayers, there's a lot of pages or groups wherein cosplayers can be heard, but not oftentimes do we hear the insight of the people behind the lenses, behind the great outputs. That is why this time we are going to hear some experiences, some advice, and some tips for photographers and also for cosplayers from our cosplay photographers. Down on the subscription below, I'll be putting on their pages. You can check their works, their outputs, and see how great they are. So, without further ado, I'll be introducing you to my guests. Let's start with. Alright, actually, they're waiting there. I'm just gonna undeepen them. Wait for a bit. Okay, OMG! Pinapanood niyo yung live na. So embarrassing. So guys, here are the awesome people that would be guesting. Let's start with. Wait, I need to move myself for a little bit. Okay, there you are.
Video.
Let's start with one above, Ygam,
Hi.
and hi, and ang awkward ni Ygam, I swear.
Relationship status, ASL.
Yes,
No,
all the time.
Okay, here. When did you start being a cosplay photographer? Did you have a hiatus? And just a very short introduction about your cosplay life. I mean, photography life.
Yeah, started photography back 2016, and as far as hiatuses go, I pretty much not have any.
2016. Really? You started I thought you started way back then. No, because me and Ygam met 2017, mid-year of 2017. So he just started when we met.
Uh, ano ba? I started as a hobby photographer. Probably what? College? That's like 2008 ba or something like that.
Oh, so
And then sa cosplay naman, when I started cosplaying, I started as a hobby photographer of cosplay also.
it went way back then. So of course, let's start with the very first question. Now, just for a start up. Now let's start. It always has to start with Ygam. He went up there. No, how?
Can you move me down? Can you move me down now? Maybe I'll go down there. No, okay, just ask the question. Go move me down there.
Now, how do you personally define cosplay photography?
Graded to ah.
Alright. Graded recitation.
Alright, student on the upper
Para
left.
pa akong pinapageant dito lang yan. I'll just compose myself. Saglit.
Rowan, alam mo ba kamukha mo si Maria Reza?
I don't know that person. Please go on, answer the question. Hi,
Roughly
Nikki.
going that way. Actually, for me, there's not much difference with normal photography, aside from the fact that cosplay photography tend to be more dynamic, at least for me. I'm more about the poses and the movement and all that stuff compared to the normal portrait stuff or the normal stand still and look beautiful pictures that you have littering a lot of the social media sites right now. So cosplay photography for me is more about motion and poses. That's it.
Ooh, poses. How about you, Sal?
Well, cosplay photography for me is parang yun na yung naging way of life ko in photography kasi that's where I started learning. Yun din yung una kong lesson on it, cosplay photography. So, basically, punot dulo ko is sa cosplay photography lang talaga. For me, it's more than just taking a photo. Like, usually, pag pinag-picture ka in a regular thing, it's just, okay, day-to-day life. But this cosplay photography, you have to think about the character, yung background, yung effects. So there's so much layers to it na hindi lang siya just photography in itself, but also, I guess, telling a story, syempre, with the characters na collaboration mo with the cosplayer. So, sana mataas yung grades ko. Thank you.
Nicco?
Ano ba?
First,
I view
how do you
cosplay photography as more on like a theme than like a category.
Mhm.
Kasi it can be like portraiture or like a narrative style of photography lang din eh.
So since you started as a cosplayer, then you went to photography just like afterwards. What inspired you to jump into that hobby? Let's start with Nicola. So, no, so from cosplay, then afterwards you went to photography. So what inspired you to go into that hobby?
Ron, medyo
Can you hear me?
I basically started both at the same time except hobby yung isa more like kasi nung college meron akong course na photojournalism.
Mhm.
Okay, so college pa lang may photography na ako.
So it started at the same time.
Yeah, so just para lang may ano ba?
To
Capturing
apply
memory?
what you're learning at school. Is that it? How about you, Sal? You said that you started ever since into cosplay photography. So why cosplay photography?
Paano ba nagsimula yun? Naalala ko kasi before, parang I don't know if you guys I'm sure you're familiar with si Kira Hokoten. He visited LaSalle that one time and then sabi ko, maybe it's time for me to shift from cosplaying to photography. So, ayun, the night before, I talked to my friend na, Pards, ano bang magandang camera? And then sabi niya, kumuha ka ng Canon. And then, I went with my dad sa mall, tapos pumili kami ng Canon camera. And the next day, I learned from that first seminar kung paano mag-shoot. And basically, like, the pinaka-basic aperture and stuff doon sa seminar ni Sir Kira Hokoten. Yeah, yun yung unang, the first time I held a camera was talagang cosplay photography yung seminar. And I guess talagang nag-stick na ako with that ever since. But I still cosplay, pero magastos pagsabay.
So you decided to pick one.
Ang hirap. Oo, so isa-isa lang. So photography na lang yun.
How about you, Ygam?
What exactly is the question ulit?
Why cosplay photography?
Why?
Yeah.
Basically, I was bored with the normal. I have a double quotes on that normal photography. Like I started with portraiture, kasi, and some fashion shoots here and there. Tapos like when I look at the output, it's like it's sharp, it's colorful sometimes, especially fashion photography. As portraiture, it evokes meaning in that. Pero there's something, well, at least for me, there's something missing. The point na I called it boring. Boring ang portraits, boring ang fashion. So, looked for something na medyo mas, I could call it dynamic. And then, there's cosplay photography. I mean, dynamic siya in a sense that you're working with really, like I said, motion and poses nga, di ba? You're working with really dynamic poses, with really alive characters or something like that, compared to like staged fashion and staged portraits. I like the parang how do you call that? Spontaneity nung cosplay shoots. Well, at least for me, that's how it goes.
Yeah, well, one thing that I would really want to share, because Ygam used this word, what's that? Static? Sometimes during shoot, when you do
Dynamic. Do you want me to spell it out for you, girl? Dynamic.
dynamic, no,
Dynamic.
during shoots,
Dynamic.
during shoots, he would say, it's so static, it's so boring, it's so still. So every time that you do a pose, he's gonna say, no, it's so static, it's so still. He would just like, you have to make a pose that is quite different, So yeah, I would really attest he's quite strict with the poses. And here's a question from like a very quick question lang from the chat. Okay. Yung nakapag-work together or meet na ba yung mga
Sir, hindi ko pa na-meet Sir Ygam. But I saw his works. Amazing. Fan na ako ni Sir Ygam. I love it. It's nice. Ganda.
Okay. Oh my
Ako na ba yung
gosh.
next? Di ba
Yes.
si Nicco na ang next? But ako ulit?
Na, yeah.
Yung cycle nun. I've worked with Nicco a lot kasi basically I made Nicco. made Nicco like an agency ko sa Manila. He's my first friend from Manila. So, basically through him, I made, nakikonnect ako with some other else. So, yeah. Nicco is like, I've worked with Nicco so much that I'm getting actually tired of it. That's, no, I'm kidding.
Hindi ka na welcome sa studio ko.
That's it.
Okay, so like any comeback to that, Nicolo? Would you want to defend yourself?
Anong defend myself? Pati ikaw nga, ginawa mo akong agency.
Oh, pero sabi niya almost to the point that he's getting tired of you. I never said that. It was from
I was
his
kidding.
mouth.
I was kidding, though.
Let's blame him a little bit. So, is there anything that you would want to come back with what he said? No. Moving on.
Go.
No, how have
Handa
you
na
worked?
ako.
Ah?
Have you worked with these two people above you?
So far, si Ygam lang talaga.
Like really, really work. If given the opportunity, would you want to work with each other?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Okay lang.
I mean,
Okay.
there's not much reason to say no, di ba?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Actually,
want to work with me?
especially if it's
Of course.
Sal, would you want to work with him?
Yes naman, but hindi.
Would you want to work with me?
Alam layo sa Baguio daw. Sabi dito, Baguio pa daw si Sir Ygam eh. So, akit tayo Sir Nicco, ganun.
Yeah. No, Nicholas
Sige, may bahay ako doon.
Ayun pala eh.
So, here's another question. Lately, which one would prefer? Fashion, normal photography, or cosplay photography? Lately, this pandemic. Which
How
one
do you
would
define normal?
still portrait. Just like
Just
Not
steals na lang
daily.
siguro. Maybe it
Yeah.
falls in the steals category.
So, which one? Let's start with, ang pinakalas na sumagot was Sal, so let's go back to you. Lately.
Lately, parang for me, mas attached ako to doing concept shoots. Although walang masyado opportunity kasi pandemic and concept shoots needs, parang eccentric backgrounds, eccentric
Yes.
costumes, etc. So, di ba? So, pero cosplay shoots are always a staple. It's always fun kasi you get to meet the fandom. Tapos, doon ka rin makakita ng mga maganda anime, maganda series. So, parang first concept, and then cosplay. That's for me.
For concept, lately, if given the chance, you would go for concept for a bit. Just to tarry. Okay, how about you, Ygam? Lately, which one would you prefer to shoot?
Lately, pandemic kasi it's like things are so much more of a hassle. So I set up a studio dito sa bahay, and then I called a cosplayer friend, and basically all we're doing is cosplay shoots. I mean, for me, portraits are quite easy, so I tend to not do them a lot. And fashion is mas mahassle siya sa akin than cosplay photography. I mean, mas mahassle ang fashion if you go, well, sa akin mas mahassle siya, so I don't usually do fashion na ulit. And the thing with fashion is there's a lot of people that work in fashion photography, so usually hindi mo siya magawa na kayong dalawa lang ng model.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So I'm doing more on cosplay photography right now.
Alright. How about you, Nicola?
I'll take whatever I can get.
So, like, kung ano na lang. But, and like,
Ano
personally,
lang, bakit?
preference.
I have regular cosplay shoots, fashion shoots. May shoot nga ako sa Sabado eh.
A bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Toy
that's...
photography, product photography, you name it. Food photography.
All right, fascinating. So here, since we've already talk about cosplay photography per se, let's talk about the community. This gets me excited and giddy. Now, as you know, a lot of people would, especially cosplayers, they rant on Facebook, they rant on different groups, and most of the time they would target photographers. And of course, each photographers are quite different. Now, what is like? Have you had any rumors or prejudice that you've heard about cosplay photographers? Like example, when you meet a new cosplayer and oh, I'm a cosplay photographer, are there like rumors that you would say that oh, I think I heard that cosplay photographers are like this? Have you had any experiences?
Kanino ko magsisimula?
I'm actually thinking
Gusto
the
mo sabay-sabay
safest.
kami tatlo, di ba?
No. The safest one. Okay, Sal. I'll go
Sal,
with
you
the
pick.
safest one first.
Mga posts, kahit like years before, it's that,
Oh my
ayan,
god.
may mga,
Okay lang, they're very much welcome. Hi guys!
may, ayan, going back, may mga photographers daw na namimili ng clients or ng isi-shoot. Well, I guess it's a double-edged sword kasi one as artists, 'di ba, mayroon naman liberty ang photographers to choose their models. But if it's paid, kailangan sana na the clients ng photographers is like, equal yung kanilang treatment, right? So, kaya when I go to cons, syempre hindi ko naman masushoot lahat kasi first of all, yung camera ko is very old. So, syempre, yung mga kaibigan ko lang yung masushoot ko. So, in my good hope, sana walang ma-offend doon. But, of course, if meron man, pasensya na lang. But, if a client goes to me and says na, uy, tara shoot tayo, I'll pay you, and here are my rates, then dapat I should make sure I prioritize yung first come, first serve. Ganon usapan lang. So, I don't know kung bakit may mga cosplayers. Sometimes, na talagang na-upset sila pag hindi sila na-shoot. But that's, I guess, alam mo iba kasi kaibigan lang. Usually ako, I shoot what my friends sa cons kasi sila lang yung kakilala ko. So I don't, me personally as a photographer, I don't want to offend anyone. Everyone's costume is awesome in their own way. Pero hindi lang talaga kaya lahat ng photographer to shoot everyone. So, yan lang for me. That's for me. Naging essay na siya. Dapat mataas grades ko dito, Rowan.
I think kasi like convention, there's a lot of people, so I think cosplayers should really set na hindi sila lahat makukuhanan. Another is that basically it's as what you said, it's the photographer's discretion. If the photographer thinks it's nice, he's gonna take a photo of it. If it's not, well, do your best next time. How about Ygam?
Huh? Is it okay for a photographer to like maybe romantically interact with the cosplayer, yeah? As my take on that is it's okay. It's outside the context of whatever you're outside the context of work. I mean, because there's this fine line na if you want to romantically interact with a cosplayer, don't treat them as a cosplayer. Treat them as a human. Na you actually have to respect and you have to actually have to talk to, not in an anime-ish way. Something like that.
Ow. Kinks and
Yeah.
fetishes.
Yeah, not like that. Talk to them as a human, basically same as you. Someone you interact with in a normal way. Kasi di ba may mga times na kasi let's admit na a lot of the photographers sa cosplay community are in one way or another weebs, di ba?
Yes.
And then some forget na if they want to interact with someone romantically, the weeb ways must be out of the way. The weeb ways and yung context na dapat wala kayo sa trabaho. If you want to interact with someone romantically, wala kayo sa trabaho. At least that's my take on that.
So, yeah, because aside from, kasi there's this notion that wherein a male photographer invites a female cosplayer, wherein this female cosplayer is good looking. There's this wariness na this photographer might have an ulterior motive. So I think it happens like a prejudice to almost male photographers. Okay. How about you, Nicolo? I think you've had a lot of dilemmas going around. Any
Sabi ka naman.
prejudices?
Grabe
Pero
mo
yung,
yung lot mo yun.
yung,
Teka
A
lang.
Last for last
lot.
talaga eh.
No, 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 no. Kidding aside, no, I mean, because you've been in the community for a long time, you've witnessed a lot of things and you've experienced lots. So,
pero Rowan, yung sinabi mo, yung about yung parang prejudice, hindi lang yan sa cosplay community. Yung male photographers being viewed as predators. Pati sa fashion din, or just even the regular photography modeling communities, ganun din eh.
can you like cite some experiences that you've had with this?
Personally.
Yeah, personal experiences would be nice.
But like how? I mean, may inimbita akong cosplayer, and then yung tanong sa akin is, can I bring my boyfriend? Which is, the answer has to be, of course, yes. Diba? Security naman, the model or cosplayer has to feel safe in your presence, diba? During the shoot.
Yeah, that would be nice because there are like this recent issues wherein a photographer would actually feel offended when they hear those kind of like remarks or like requests.
That's their ego talking na.
Yeah, so actually like cosplay photographers have to deal with a lot of things too. Aside from the public eye, it's also for the cosplayers that they're working on. Now let's have this for those I think is like Sal and Nico, you take clients for shoots.
Yeah.
Right? Now how do you handle difficult clients? Like when they have unreasonable requests, or like clients who want
Cosplay photography, that's also product photography.
photography in
General.
scope. Yeah. So we're like, how do you handle difficult clients, especially in cosplay?
Wala pa akong difficult client in cosplay eh.
What? That's
Yung
so
mga-
nice.
Pwede ba mag-name drop?
No.
Okay lang yan, sinagbaybay lang naman eh.
No, like, can you give me an example? Why would you name drop Lib?
Hindi naman sa difficult si Lib eh. Joke lang yan.
So, so how about you, Sal?
Like Sir Nico, wala rin akong difficult clients. Yeah, wala pa naman. Everyone has been nice. I guess natakot na rin, hindi man natakot, parang worry na rin yung mga cosplayers with treating the cosplayers right. Especially, ang dami kasing yung, parang pay for the art movement. So, nakakatulong din yan sa photographers na to treat us okay.
Yeah.
Bonus na rin pag may food, ang saya lang, gano'n.
All right. This is for Ygam, for someone who does not take clients. What are the advantage and disadvantages of not taking clients? Gum.
Let's try to put it sa context ng sinabi ni Sal kanina. It's like, ano na nga ba yung sinabi mo kanina? Teka, nawala sa utak ko.
Sige, mag-isip ka muna.
Mungungopia na lang eh.
Run!
Kasi, paraphrasing yan eh.
Hindi ko kasi, it's like, I don't take clients kasi maybe the reason is, for me, you don't have creative freedom kapag constrained yung gusto mong magawa to the wants of the clients. Like, well, that's how I feel about it. Kaya I don't usually take clients. Tapos, the advantage of that is yun nga, the output is more on like, it's my touch, I can call it my own. I can stretch it to however I want creatively or something like that. The disadvantages of that is, ano nga ba? It's like, yun nga, when you take clients, you take money, di ba? Tapos yun din, you're bound to maybe a deadline of some sort kasi sino ba naman gusto maghintay forever?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Tapos yun nga, there's these preferences ng client mo. So like, The advantage siguro is like challenge ka in a way to meet their creativity or to meet their vision or something like that. So as a photographer, siguro mas may enhance yung pakikitungo mo with other people. Tapos yung nga, the yung limits din ng creativity mo kasi siguro you can view it like this. Siguro ikaw ang may limits as a photographer rather than yung client ang may limits sa creativity nila. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. That's now during shoots. What are the nuances or behavior that cosplayers have that you don't like, that you've noticed during shoot?
Controversial naman yung question mo, Roan.
No, naman. And general.
The cosplayer wanted na siya mismo muna yung mag-check ng photos kung okay ba before sharing. Na nag-antay ako ng 1 taon.
Oh my!
God, ang
Just for
tagal.
approval.
So, that's like a medyo bagong experience na the photographer is the one waiting for the go signal of the subject before, proceeding with edits and
Oh
and
my!
uploading.
Kaya 1 year?
Na-close naman, sir. I mean, natapos yung project na i-post ng maayos, everything. Pero a year talaga yung hinintay.
Did you even post?
Did you post? Yun pala yung...
Pero man, syempre, nag-post ako.
Anong caption mo?
Okay.
Why?
Nakita yun eh.
Finally, ganun.
Tunay naman, yung mabait naman na wala naman akong sinisiraang tao.
Oh. Hi, Leeb. Actually, Leeb, you were with yung pinakamabait. So, kasi feeling ko
Wait ko,
mabubuo.
pinakamabait.
I take offense to that, man. I take offense to that. Joke lang. Sige.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
mean
Tab,
kasi
go ahead.
kinakabahan ako. I
Ako,
work
Ygam
with
eh.
both of them. And I have
Mabait ako
this
sa
big
ngayon, charot.
attitude.
Behaviors, naku, pag late yung model or the sorry. Pag late yung model or the cosplayer, it's kind of medyo nakakasad. Kasi, hindi naman, I'm sure, I don't know kung sila Sir Ygam and Sir Nicolo, but for me, this is not my day job. So, meron akong work din outside of cosplay photography. So, alam mo yun, parang I take time out of my rest day, or nag-leave ako minsan if talagang kailangan ni client ng photographer. So, sana talaga hindi sila late kasi I took time out of my schedule, our schedule, tapos hindi i-respect yung time. So, yun. Pagiging late, I hope, hindi lang yun, that doesn't go lang for the cosplayers, even the photographers. I mean, pag the traffic, plan ahead, ganun. So, maano lang ako sa time. Nagmana ako kay Mickey. Maano kami sa time ni Mickey eh. So, ayan, kailangan to the T. Si Mickey, sabihin niya 4 o'clock, pero andun na siya 3:30.
3:30. Yeah.
And paid or not paid, be professional. Respect the other people that you're working with. Unlike Ygam.
Huh?
Nicco, ikaw
Inaantay mo
muna.
ako
Nicco.
at ng ilang oras.
Okay.
Hala, sorry, baka may natawaan.
Tawa na lang ako kasi may naalala ako with Ygam. Nicolo, ikaw muna.
Yun na,
Yun
halos
talaga?
same lang din.
Being late. How about for attitudes? Wala naman.
Attitudes. Sa con lang akong may problema sa cosplayer eh. Pagdating sa attitude.
Like?
I think, sa con, hello.
Attitude
Si Sal, may nabanggit siya about that, yung mga rude na cosplayer, na yung feeling na they have to have their photo taken. Kasi like, I had an experience at a cosplay event na, I was talking to a friend, and then there was this cosplayer that grabbed my arm and then kept insisting that I take her photo.
Friend mo?
Yung cosplayer na yon? Hindi.
Hindi niya kilala.
If you're super close.
Blacklisted na yun sa akin.
As in, how do you handle that?
Well, depends on the situation, but normally it's polite declining, or pag hindi na talaga kaya, pagalitan, di ba?
Oh, wow, that's like...
Sabihan. Ano?
Okay, that's kind of scary. I mean, like,
Ang bleeding.
just someone grabbing you by the arm and you don't know that person. That's kind of traumatizing. How about you, Ygam?
Huh? Right. Nuances naman, hindi naman siya, when we say nuances like a minor annoying thing or something like that, kasi it's like, usually, a lot of cosplayers are late nga, yun nga, that's one of the, let's say, issues around that pag shoots. And,
Player ba o Pinoy?
Pinoy.
wag ganun, wag ako.
Do I know about this? Okay.
Pero how I handle that is like, may mga instances naman kasi na valid ang pagiging late. Like, there's something that needs attending to, may emergency or something. And at times, may mga times din na hindi valid, like, late nagising or something like, hindi nag-sound yung alarm. Along those lines, pero it's like, when you're working with someone, when you ask, kasi I usually ask to work with someone, it's like, you expect na may mangyayaring ganun. A lot of times, I expect na malilate sila. Kahit di ko sila kilala, kahit hindi ko sila kuwan, I account for that. So like, probably malilate to. Maybe I can do something else while waiting. Or something like that. Tapos as far as rude cosplayers go, ako kasi medyo oblivious. Kaya siguro hinihila na ako. It's like, sige, go lang. Saan? Basta wag man akong hilahin kung saan lugar. It's like, gano'n lang naman ako eh. It's like, hilahin mo ako, pa-picture ka, okay, sige, let's take a picture of you. Tapos pag naman siguro yung sobrang annoying, kasi like, hinila ka na wherever, basta ganun. So that's how I handle things. Try to understand people, where they're coming from. Siguro, sometimes they're not coming from a good point, pero it's like, people are people. Just try to understand them. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, at least as long as dumating, rather than like, they were saying na, like, malilate ako, I cannot go, tas makikita mo siya around, diba? Tas hindi siya sumipot sa...
Well, once hindi dumating. Once hindi dumating. And then how I handled that was, nakipag-inuman na lang ako with Nicco.
Oh yeah, I know the story.
An experience, yeah.
Pero
It's okay, it's okay.
kinda a bit insulting.
Diba may excuse na nung time na yun? Yung,
It's a valid excuse, yeah.
Diba?
May dumating sa house, so it needs working on. Eh, syempre mas pa-prioritize mo naman yun kaysa going to a cosplay shoot, diba? That's
Pero ano ba yung
understandable,
sa
yeah.
con? Na nakita mo siya, andun pala siya.
Ay, hindi. Iliba mo na naman ang story.
Hindi, kasi naalala ko lang. Pero yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead with the questions.
Yes. Pero actually, I was a bit nervous kasi ako na magsasabi as a cosplayer. As cosplayers, sometimes really have this big attitude that sometimes even photographers really have to tell us kasi we're not quite aware of it. Like, yung pagiging late. Yeah. Kaya ako medyo kinabahan kanina kasi I've been like victim like a couple of times, twice, thrice. Si Ygam, like, sobrang ang aga nila. Especially, it happens in a group shoot. So, yeah, if it's a group shoot, just like what Sal said, better prepare ahead of time. Yan naman yan. So, here.
No,
Kinabahan
but like,
ako.
yes, kinabahan ako din. Pero like, I as with Sir Ygam, may valid reason, may valid na lateness, and that's fine. I mean, tao lang naman tayo, nangyayari yan. Kahit ako, nalilate ako, traffic, or bigla tumawag yung boss, yun ang lagi kong reason. Pero yun nga, yung pag like, ay, late ako nagising or something like that, yung mga parang nakaka-rude, medyo rude, pero yung mga may something sa bahay or anything, super, super valid. And, you know, as adults, as people na adults, we should learn to understand people. Tama naman yun.
Okay. Now, let's go with our outputs. How do you handle criticism about your outputs? Kasi you cannot please everybody. Let's start with Ygam. Yeah, how do you handle criticisms? Now, like, I really want to, kasi nga, you cannot please no matter how you tried your best. Meron talaga yung iba magaling or nagmamagaling lang talaga. Wherein they try to be very nitpicky about it without knowing the effort that are being exerted sa output. So, how do you handle that?
Mga question zero, ano?
Tinanong ko to sa'yo! Yeah, me and Sal talk about
The fact is, I don't know kung sa akin lang, do I seem intimidating? Kasi it's like, a lot of times, wala namang nag-criticize ng work ko.
Takot lahat ng
So,
taga-Baguio
siguro,
sa'yo.
Wala
no,
ba?
that's not that. Tapos, may mga times naman na I work with those, especially those who know Photoshop. Siyempre, alam nila kung anong ginawa mo. It's like, they want this image brighter and they can do it themselves. So, they're asking for the raw image or a JPEG output they can edit, and I'm pretty much okay with that kasi it's like, this is my vision and ito yung vision ng cosplayer. They may not always coincide with one another. Siguro they go their separate ways tapos magkaiba kayo ng vision and then they want it. I'm open, they want something else than what you want. I'm open to like them editing my output, so like oh, that's cool. That actually looks better. A lot of times ganon. It actually is nice. Or something like that. Pero how I handle criticisms is it's like a way to see things from another person's perspective. Like yun nga, they edit my photos, it comes out as maybe something else, but often something better. And I like that. It's like building up on building up on my output. I really like that. I really like cosplayers doing that.
Oh, that's nice. How about you, Sal?
I'm with Sir Ygam on this. I know may mga kilala akong photographers who don't like their photos being edited or hindi nagbibigay na RAWs. I guess that's their own discretion. But I'm with Sir Ygam and everything na parang like yung visions may not coincide. Pero mas, ayun nga, kasi since si cosplayer yung nakakaalam ng face niya, nakakaalam ng makeup niya, or anong tone ng wig yung gusto niya. So, ayun, it's good. Then, kung may criticisms or hinihingi yung RAWs for me also, kasi, ayun nga, it comes out better and since si cosplayer naman yung nag-cosplay, so siya rin yung may initial vision and you guys collaborate on it. So, yeah, super agree on Sir Ygam on this.
How about you, Nicco? Lo?
Talagang dinagdag mo pa yung lo.
Oo nga, nakalimutan ko, Nicco. Kasi may nakita ko, Nicco. Lo. Kasi I know another Nicco. Pero I know you're the one here. Okay.
Criticism, depende naman yung like how I handle criticism. If it's just ang pangit ng gawa mo, then they ignore. Diba? Pero kung ang pangit ng gawa mo, plus this is how you could have done it, you know, with suggestions, okay. Yung na-mention ni Sal about sa Raw, as a rule, I do not give that out unless, you know, paid negotiations yan.
For
That's your, kasi product mo yan in a sense. Yung whatever that you have your name on or your watermark, that's your product. So, unless napag-usapan before the shoot na mag-i-edit si cosplayer or subject, diba?
So, what?
Then,
Go ahead.
Yun nga, so, when it comes to like editing, if there's criticism, edi make it constructive.
I think I've read it somewhere in a page wherein they were like having this watermark on a cosplayer and a watermark on a cosplayer's photo and they just crop it out. How do
So,
you
yun yung mga
feel?
magnanaka.
No, like even sometimes they don't even credit the photographers. How do you feel about
Anong
that?
kot naman nun?
How about you, Ygam? How do you feel about it when you don't get credited?
Actually, yun nga, I'm not taking clients, and then I'm pretty detached from my work. So it's like, if I see it somewhere, oh nice. And then if it gets stolen, oh nice, kanakaw pala yung image ko.
Very chill, very
Oh, something like that.
chill.
I'm pretty, yeah, I know it's not a good look when it comes to photography and everything. But I don't usually put watermarks on my work. And then I'm pretty, like, whenever I work with Ella, I tell her, you can use it wherever, whenever, do whatever you want with it. Because it's like, I'm pretty detached from my work. And I know that's not a good look. It's like, but that's how I am as a photographer.
And as a
So,
person.
as a person, wow.
Hindi ba Ygam? As a person, ganyan ka naman.
Pretty much detached to everything, pero yeah, not really. How about you?
Yeah.
How about
Ako
you,
na ba?
Nicolo? Yeah.
Ano ba? Well, if it's like if the cosplayer edits the photo themselves after I've already done edits of my own, I'd prefer na they credit themselves as the editor. And then sa removing of the watermark naman, that's magpaalam muna kayo, please.
Yeah, because I mean, personally,
Respeto lang.
Di ba awkward nun? It's like, pwede ko pa ba alisin yung watermark? I mean, what? Oh,
Ay, may mga nagtatanong pa rin yan.
Alisin ko na lang.
Oh, my.
I don't wanna name drop, ang dami.
Pero what?
Pero sir, ano yung reason nila for it? Ba't nila gusto tanggalin? I mean, hindi naman nila kasi ng watermark sa image. What's the reason daw po?
Ha?
Ano yung reason nila?
Yung pagtanggal ng watermark is either sa mag-edit sila ng bongga or like for prints. Para nakakasira ako ng how a print looks. Mga print na binibenta.
Yeah, you rarely see watermarks on prints naman kasi. So I guess, yeah, it's another reason to remove watermarks, I guess.
If they're gonna sell it, ganun.
Yeah.
If it's like X deal, then that's where respeto naman sa photographer, please credit, di ba? And ask for permissions, ganun. If it's paid naman, that's everything's negotiated or talked about prior to the shoot and prior to the editing and prior to everything else, di ba?
Hindi yung it wasn't mentioned during the negotiation and then afterwards they're selling it and wow, you didn't tell me about this. Yeah, I think it's nice to have it talked during the negotiation, not after the photo shoot.
Actually, even if it's X deal, you talk with whoever you're working with na, oh, sige, after nito, what are we going to do? Or how's it going to be? Also, X deal's gray area where you both own everything technically, like the output.
So,
Pero there are some things that na respeto na lang.
respeto na lang for each. Okay. So here actually it's a wrapping up questions. Now since you've been through cosplay photography, what are your advices to cosplayers and to cosplay photographers, those who want to involve themselves in this craft? Any advices that you would want to tell them? Let's go up with...
Sal.
No, I'm actually looking who's ready.
Nika.
I'm actually
Nika.
no, whoever's ready, because it's quite like, advice is something that you need to think about. So like, who wants to go first before I pick?
Gusto mo, ako na lang. Sige, ako na lang.
Go!
Go, sir.
34-year-old goes first.
You really have to drop your age.
Yes, I have to drop my age. Just like how...
Guys, are you ready? He actually dropped his age. Okay, go.
Ba't masama ba?
No, it's...
That's so advice to
unfair,
cosplayers and cosplay photographers. Yeah, like I said earlier, respeto lang, diba? Respect the other person in what you do, diba?
Yeah. Wow, short and concise.
Treat the other person as a human being, diba? Not as an object or as a alalay, servant, someone that's beneath you. Even if you pay, even if there's a transaction, diba? Tao pa rin yung kausap mo or ka-transact mo, di ba?
Yeah. Next, Sal.
Yes. Be understanding and kunang kulang din ngayon na, be understanding with everything and respect. First time ko talaga makarinig daw makamove on yung watermark tinatanggal. I'm so sorry that happened, sir.
You're still...
I don't want watermarks on my photos, partly because I'm tamad and I think kasi pag design ko ng logo and stuff, I don't have time for that. Pero, ayun na, wala lang, parang, ano pa, I guess to cosplayers, please don't remove watermarks or kung may napag-usapan beforehand, sana better, hindi yung suddenly matatanggal. For cosplay photographers, an advice? Am I old enough to give advice? I guess
age drop.
Mas bata yan sa akin. 10 years gap sila ni Nicco, lo.
24 po. Ayan, ano ba?
Age ka mo.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years a decade.
be creative, and take inspiration with sa mga different photographers that's around you. You know, I'm only as good as my mentors, and I really don't take credit sa work ko that much kasi lahat na natutunan ko galing lang sa mga nakakasama ko. So, yeah. Don't be entitled, everyone. Be humble. Yeah, sarap. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Ygam?
Gam, kung wala ka, may dagdag ako.
Okay lang to. Let's go with more practical advices. Like, for the photographers.
Age!
For photographers, age drop, 32.
Yeah.
I was expecting.
Wala pala.
32
Oh,
ka na
yeah.
pala.
Nag-birthday ako last year. Pati ngayon.
33 ka next Feb.
Okay, so more practical advices dito. If you're a cosplay photographer, for the cosplay photographers muna, try to take references from manga. The poses, the angles, the everything. Ang ganda ng angles sa manga, you have to take a look at that. Pati sa anime usually, pero sa manga nanggagaling yun eh. At least it's a still. That's better. Tapos, photographers ulit, pag sinabi ng model, na magdadala siya ng boyfriend or parent, actually that's a really cool advantage kasi it's like pag nagpaayos yung cosplayer ng costume niya, andun yung boyfriend, andun yung parent. Pag may pinakuha yung cosplayer, andun yung boyfriend, andun yung parent. So like the parent or boyfriend is there as another assistant. Wag niyo kwan. Umuo lang kayo pag sinabi niyo magdadala. Pag dinala na yung pamilya nila, sige lang. Umuo lang kayo.
Kaming assistant.
Wag naman yung
Dami
This reminds me of ano,
yung
this reminds
pagdating
me
sa
of
location.
some
Ay, my parents!
picture, ah.
Ganyan lang. Tapos sa cosplayers naman, well, obviously, try to arrive on time, at least kahit par or at least 10 or 20 minutes late lang. Tapos set your alarm earlier kasi there are a lot of preparations, di ba, for cosplays like the costume, the wigs, the makeups and everything. Try natin na mas gawin earlier or at least at the time na hindi makakaabala dun sa photographer. And then yun nga, try as much as possible be involved in the process. Hindi yung nagpa-picture lang kayo and bahala na yung photographer. Try to at least discuss with the photographer yung the character, the setting, siguro yung location or something like that. And then pag okay yung photographer, that's a mark of a really good photographer. Like, I can work with this guy more creatively than others. Well, not necessarily guy. I can work with this gal more creatively than the others. So like, something like that. So in short, be more involved with the photographer. So like, well, involved creatively, more involved.
Creatively.
Communication is key.
baka mabalikan ka eh.
Yeah, that's everything. That's everything I have. Sige,
Nicolo,
go ahead,
you said you wanted to add something?
Yeah, so sa cosplayers, be more flexible. Not, I mean, in the sense like sa poses, di ba? Kasi may mga cosplayer na talagang, ay, hindi yan, the character doesn't do that. Pero sa tingin ng photog, well, me, na it'll look okay naman na if the cosplayer does certain things. Communication is key, within reason naman, di ba? And then the photographers naman, especially yung mga lalaki, even though you paid for everything, kung ex-deal, di ba? Leave your horniness at home, please. You're representing the photographer community.
Yeah, actually, that's why there's a lot of people that are being wary with photographers. There are a lot of good photographers. It's just that because of the notion and because of the rumors going around the community, they tend to be wary, they tend to listen to those kind of things, and they don't trust new photographers. So yeah, I hope cosplayers do give chance to different photographers. Because you might not know, maybe they could be your friend afterwards or... Kasi kung... Supposedly, dapat worry ako kay Ygam, pero I don't know why I didn't get worried. Kasi grabe po yan mag-invite. If those people who he invited, tara, shoot. Ayun. And aside from that, yung sabing pagdadala ng boyfriend and parent, it is very nice, but do please inform your photographers, especially hindi yung parang magugulat na lang si photog. Ay! May magulang. And then, it's kinda nakakaano. You have to inform everything sa photographer. Tapos kung example, it's like, ang ina-expect ng photographer, mag-isa mo lang na isushoot. Tapos nagdala ka pala ng isa pang cosplayer.
Ay, no.
Diba?
Nako.
Experience ka dyan, no? Yeah.
Gulat na lang.
Gulat ka na lang kasi
No.
yung preparation, tas like, some photographers, if they know if you tell them the character, they really do study and even watch a clip about that character. Tas pag nagdala ka ng isa na hindi kilala ng photographer yung character, it's a little bit off. Yung timing ng photographer will be all over the place.
And to add, kasi sometimes may mga lenses na pwede for maliit na location lang, tapos iisa lang yung cosplayer. Panakagulat pag dalawa pala sila, tapos the equipment you brought, kulang. So, yung mga ganong things pa.
Yes. Now here, lastly, sa inyo naman, during the long journey of photography, what are the learnings that you had that you can share to everyone? Yung learnings all throughout the journey. Nicola?
Learnings?
Lessons. Wala kayong natutunan
Parang-
like life lessons.
Parang ang hirap nun learnings. Lessons through the photography journey.
Yes. I think you've had
I'm willing
that.
to hold a seminar here in my house. I have an apprentice. His name is Lib Bye Bye.
Hi, Lib! Okay. What are two learnings na you can share naman?
Si Ygam naman una.
Oh, Ygam. Especially
Ready
because...
yan,
Ay,
diba?
wait. Sa akin ulit.
Sige, go, kaya mo yan.
Hindi, it's kwan lang kasi. Before photography, well, at least I can attest na medyo, well, actually hanggang ngayon I learned to deal with people in a more understanding way. Just like I said nga, understand the circumstances, bakit ganito, bakit late, bakit sira ang costume in some ways or others like that. It's like, I learned to be more understanding towards people. Ganun lang. It's like, kasi, kahit naman magkainitan kayo dyan, late nga siya. Ay, bakit ka late? Right? Ganun. Kahit naman maginitan kayo dyan, it's like, in the end, you just want a photo shoot. Diba? It's like, be more understanding of people. That's what I want. That's what I learned throughout the journey.
Oh,
Yep.
on that part. Nicola?
Ano na?
Yes?
Word lang yung akin.
Ano sabi mo?
Nag-mature siya in his interpersonal skills.
Sino? Si Ygam?
Oo. Ay! Just to add on sa experience.
Technically ako din eh.
Okay, go.
Or rather, yung self-confidence ko. Kasi before, it's just ganon, di ba? And then take photo, and then my camera is tiny. Then, kasi so ano ba to? I took a fashion photography course in 2017 where one of the lessons was to communicate with your subject. I normally don't really speak with
Oh, kailan yan?
Oo, actually,
Okay lang yan.
sinabi din niya na
Hindi, yung
and I was like, what?
ano ba? Ha?
Di ba sinabi
Yeah, so
niya?
before, it's just, sige, post, and then next, di ba? And then, now naman, it's, can you do this?
You talk na.
Yeah, I talk na, di ba? I don't hide behind the mask anymore because before, literal nakamaskara ako. And then now, I just hide behind the camera.
Oh, see, even Ygam does not believe you. Kasi, natawa ka din eh. Kasi when you were saying before this, we had like a conversation over the call. He was saying that I'm an introvert before. I'm a very shy kid, and I was like, what shy? Because I think you've already developed into a very good person by that time. Na you already talk. Kasi when I met you, talagang expectation ko, extrovert tong taong to, very jolly. Yeah.
We're talking about Nicco dito,
High
diba?
functioning,
Yes.
introvert ako.
Inaway mo ko, Ygam. Yes, Nicola?
Ha?
Hindi kasing first meeting namin ni Ygam, inaway niya ako.
Ganun.
Kwento ko
Grabe
sa inyo
ka, Gam.
mamaya. Inaway niya ako, guys! Okay, Nicola, I'll say
Okay
that
lang yan.
later. So, yeah, you were saying, Nicola?
Masahista ka naman eh. masokistang bully.
Nah. Okay. How about you, Sal? Any learnings?
Um, hmm, learnings. Well, you're as good as the people who are around you. Na parang, ano ba? Kasi there was this one, matagal na to like, a super beginner pa ako nun. There was this one experience na, kasi since, I don't know if this is being spoken a lot, pero pag kasi girl yung photographer, noon, matagal na to, parang may pagtingin yung other male photographers na you're kind of their assistant lang. It happened to me before. Ko na papangalan, don't name drop. But ginawa akong assistant na isang male photographer just because I'm a girl and hindi niya like he even took my equipment and oh my gosh, ang sakit sa heart nun. Super beginner pa lang ako nun and I guess through that experience I learned na parang you're only as good as the people who teaches you and you shouldn't be bitter with how people treat you kasi kasama yun sa experience mo. So, lahat ng challenges sa shoot mo, mainit, mahangin, wala kang dala equipment, everything na yun would build your character and as a photographer. So, kung guys, nakahirap ng equipment ko, I don't know if active for sa cosplay photography right now, thank you, kasi natuto akong mag-shadow at least, mag-shadow ng photographer and then from behind, so literally behind the lens. So, ayun lang. That's for me. Every challenge as a photographer counts kasi it stretches your creativity. So,
Pero, ang sakit no.
And then, everything's
Like,
learning
literally.
experience, diba?
that's true.
Pero hindi ko kaya yun. You're being undermined just because of your gender.
Oh, I don't know, baka sa akin lang naman nangyari yun. But yeah, well, once lang naman. That happened once. Once lang yun, so it never happened.
How about you guys? Have you worked with a professional or like a very high photographer? Tapos you're being undermined because you're like a no-name photographer?
Undermined kasi, Diyos ko. Undermined.
Sorry. Sige, Nicco. Sabi ko talaga, inaaway ako, guys. Pero, yeah. How about you, Ygam? Have you experienced that?
Well, when I was new, I worked with a certain Elijah Alcantara. And wala naman ako na experience na it's like he's looking down on me or like anything malicious or deviant or something like that. Basta the whole experience was good. I think he was a fellow introvert too, so hindi siya masyado naka-interact sa akin beyond the basics of posing or maybe if I ask him questions on lights and posing. So far siya lang nakatrabaho kong I think on a professional level. So,
on work.
yeah.
Oh,
Wala naman akong major experiences or bad experiences with him. He's really good guy. Guys, ElijahAlcantara.com. Do check his works. He's good.
yeah, he's very good. He's one of the respected. Oh, you've worked with Sir Elijah. Sal? Have you worked with Sir Elijah?
No. Parang I just really like his work. So good. So good.
Yeah, the effort he puts into it.
Diba? Fanboy. Elijah fanboy.
Ako rin. Fangirl.
I like his composites are very good. How about you, Nicolo?
How about me?
Kaya si Nicco, marami nakatrabaho yan for sure.
Kaya nga eh.
Marami nakatrabahong pro yan.
That you were okay, I'm gonna change the word. Were you belittled because
Huh?
were you
Belittled by anyone?
Yeah.
Na photographer? Hindi naman.
That's
Haven't
fine.
experienced that.
Matangkad mo
Yan
naman.
tangkad din Nicco.
Sabi
Paano may
ko nga sa
bibalikan yan?
And a literal context, but yeah. No, I've worked with some aside from Ygam. Na actually takot sila kay Ygam eh. I don't know why.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
Kaya ginagawa niya akong bibing.
Ygam na may kumot oh.
Napaka-blockable kong tao. Guys, napaka-blockable kong tao. Huwag kayong matakot sa akin.
Ikwento ko lang kung paano kami nag-meet ha. Kasi that time, I was an organizer of an event. Ang alam ko talaga, binigay ko sa kanya yung media pass niya. Kasi you cannot go inside of the event hall without a media pass. Kasi they surrendered it the day before. Binigay ko talaga, feeling ko kasi sobrang kahawig niya. Tapos sabi niya, hindi mo binigay sa akin. Binigay ko nga sa'yo. Tapos yun, inaway niya ako. Hindi mo nga binigay sa akin. Pinapasok ko na ng kawawa naman.
Ay, by context guys, pag sinabi ni Roan na inaaway niyo siya, most probably natapik niyo lang siya or
Hindi ah. Tapos nagulat na lang ako. Nag-friend request. Tapos hindi ko maalala, pero I'm a very friendly person, so inaccept ko siya. Tapos next na chat niya, pera mo akong leeg.
Leeg.
Pero, yeah, mahaba leeg ko. I think he's planning to do like a photo shoot or something, pero din na natuloy. Pero yeah, basically, you don't judge a person, special or a photographer. Kasi yung iba talaga very awkward sila, and that's how they invite you. Perang leeg. Anyways, yun lang yung context. And baka sabihin nyo naman na sobrang inaway ako ni Ygam. Sa shoot lang naman niya ako inaway.
Excuse me, the neck invite was for a necklace shoot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Baka kung ano maisip nung iba. So anyways, are there any like last word of wisdom? WOW? Before we go?
WW.
Words of wisdom.
Wow.
Yes.
No?
Words of wisdom.
Wala akong words of wisdom eh. Meron lang ako yung my cosplay photographer motto.
Ano yun?
Oh.
Ano yun? That's interesting.
Ano yun? Every cosplayer deserves to have their photo taken.
Tapos,
But,
yeah.
diba? But don't be rude about, demanding your photo to
Yeah.
be taken, diba?
That's a
That's
very
why
nice slogan.
that's why before I would have about 800 minimum photos from a con. End up with yun nga, mga 400.
Pero ang dami pa din nun. Hello, shopper counts. Diba? How about you, Sal? Any words of wisdom?
Taiga muna.
Oh, Ygam.
Isip muna ako. Baka meron si Sir.
Tapos nakatitig lang siya eh. Titig lang siya eh.
I mean, I'm trying to rack my brains right now for for some words of wisdom, pero wala talaga eh. It's
Sige,
like,
kahit hindi wisdom.
Follow Elijah Alcantara Photography.
follow
Yun na yun,
elijahantara.com.
Diyos ko po, Ygam ah. Baka,
Sige.
habang nag-iisip pa sila. Yan. So anyways, habang nag-iisip pa sila, magdadada muna ako. And yes, magbabasa lang ako ng comments sa chat. So, because like, Mickey was like, sino yan? Who do I fight? Because you mentioned a photographer.
Di ba sigam na lang?
Ipapush mo talaga yung words of wisdom.
Oo.
Wala nga eh. Paano kung hindi ka wise in the first place, no? Wala kang...
Ay, grabe siya. Tapos like, yun naman, on my side as a cosplayer, kasi I usually say this, like when they say, I do admit na like, I'm very lucky that I have a very good photographer friends, pero like, every output has a story to tell na hindi madali yung process. Kaya ang daming nagugulat saglitan, like minsan kami ni Ygam kung sa shoot itself, the process madali lang, pero what takes a lot of time is the light and yung pagiging perfectionist ng photographer. Pero for cosplayers, you really have to listen kasi they are the one who can see what is behind the lens. Sila yung nakakakita. Minsan may pinapagawa sila sa'yo because they think that it's good. So you have to listen to it. Kung hindi nyo gusto, try it out kasi baka maganda yung output. Minsan pag irritated yung photographer and they might say something bad, you have to think and accept it kasi baka tama nga naman. Oo. So, yun. So, you just, wag magtatampo sa photographers. Yun lang naman. Kasi kung magtatampo kayo, since unang output pa lang ni Ygam, nagtampo na ako. Uy, grabe. Masakit talaga magsalita yan, pero mabait siyang tao, guys. Single po siya at 32. So, binubugaw ko po si Ygam. And also, Nicolo.
May age range na bawal na sa'yo?
Oh, yeah. May age range, may ba? Guys, if you need kung maganda kayo, and this one,
Bakit ganyan?
And if naghahanap po kayo ng photographer na boyfriend, andyan po si Nicolo at si Ygam. Oh my gosh, nag-lag kayo. What happened? You're not moving, guys.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oo nga, no?
Ayun, you're moving. Wait, what? What happened? Ako lang gumagalaw?
Oo.
Bakit ganyan?
Ayan, I think
Signal
okay.
mo.
Wala na.
Oh yeah. But you can be heard. I can hear you well naman. So, wow. Hello! Kung sino man po yung yung internet provider ko, pakiayos saglit.
Name drop mo.
Ay! So far, sila pa naman ang pinakamatino. Hindi po ako tulad nung isa dyan na naka-business line. Business line ka pa din ba? Brad?
Hindi na.
I mean, kasi like, ikaw lang naman gumagamit. Diba? Naka-freeze lahat maliban sa akin. But anyways, thank you very much. Are there anything that you would want to plug? Nicolo?
Page na natin.
Plug niyo kung ano man yung mga activities niyo, if like you're looking for a model,
Cute
ano man
naman.
hinahanap niyo.
Hanap if you're looking for a photographer in Metro Manila, specifically Makati, you can just PM me at my account or my page, just Nicco Photography. I have a home studio.
Sobrang wala kang magawa.
galing.
Guys, when you visit the place, make sure that you're fully vaccinated. Yeah, observe proper sanitation, social distancing. Yun lang naman po. How about you, Sal?
Well, ayan. If you like my content, I guess, follow Orchrisall. I also do photo shoots. Manila naman ang aking area. So, yeah, if you're ever here, para some tips. Yeah. So, yeah. Orchrisall. Madalang mag-post, but it's there.
Okay.
Saan? Collab ta.
Ha?
Collab ta.
Tara! Game!
That would be very nice. Ikaw.
Akyatin natin si Ygam.
Akyat. Maliit lang naman siya. There's nothing to climb on.
Ababa ako sometime. I'll call you guys.
Yeah, masipag siya bumaba. How about you, Ygam? Anything to plug?
Elijah Alcantara Photography. Pag napadpad kayo sa Baguio, do give the guy a call. He's really good.
Hindi mo
Page ko.
pa-promote sarili mo.
Nah. I'm not doing anything right now. So, I'm cool.
Okay.
Sabi ka, kahit para makita yung works mo.
Tayo na mag-plug dito. Ano ba yung page ni Sir Ygam?
Ygam Retuta Photography. I'll be
Photography.
putting on the links
Sorry
down
po.
below sa subscription. Or if not, punta lang po talaga kayo sa page ko. Karamihan po ng output na yun galing kung hindi kay Nicolo, yes, yun po. Kung hindi galing kay Nicolo, galing kay
i-plug ni
Ygam.
Sir Ygam eh.
Yes. Yun. Bakit ayaw mo advertise ng page?
Basta,
Kung di lang talaga ako
Ano yan,
nag-deactivate.
Gam? Iniisip mo na hindi ka professional?
hindi.
Ang daming pressure kaya sa'yo, even
Guys,
professional.
circumstances.
Yeah,
Circumstances.
guys. Because he's playing a lot of games right now. Kaya, binuko talaga, no? So, yeah. Anyways, baka humaba pa tayo at alam ko you still have a lot of schedules at yung isa matutulog pa. At ako'y magbabalik tulog na din.
Sino yung matutulog?
Si Sal.
I didn't
Ako rin, matutulog ako.
Maglalaro ka, wag kang ako kakagising ko lang. Buti na lang talaga.
Have a
photography
sewing deadline?
editing yun. You have a lot
Okay,
of
deadlines. Yun na lang. Mas acceptable yan. Ay, may deadlines ako. May deadlines ako sa clock ko. Anyways, thank you very much for especially with Sal. I've never talked with her. I've never had an interaction with her. Thank you, Miki. For letting me meet Sal. And thank you. The biggest surprise talaga si Ygam eh. He's the biggest surprise talaga na he agreed. Kasi what I know, usually ayaw niya. Tapos may post pa siya before I deactivated na, basta yun, may post siya. Ganyan, kinabahan ako. Ala, tutuloy kayo ni Ygam. So, thank you. And uy, kabado talaga ako, honestly, kung papayag ka, Ygam. Anong naisipan mo at pumayag ka? To wrap up, guys, bye-bye. Next time na ulit.
Yung totoo. Anong
Drugs ka
naisip
ba?
mo?
Tumimik ka!
No?
Wala na yun, talk.
Ano
Sa
ba?
debriefing na lang yan.
Nicolo, also, thank you very much. You've been part of my vodcast twice for the very first episode and for this one. Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me. Anyway, so I'm gonna do my spiel. I'm gonna mute you first. Huwag kayong aalis at may kukulitin pa ako dyan at huwag tatakbo yung isa dyan. Okay, yes, I'm going to. Alright, so there you are. So they are. Naku, ang dada ko talaga, guys. No, I know you're so used to it na. So, there. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you for those who were watching. Thank you for the comments. And I hope you've learned a lot of things. I hope that you are able to listen to the side of the photographers, how things are going on with them. I hope that a lot of you will not be scared if like it's okay to be worried. There's not much of a danger to it, but I hope that you do not generalize photographers just because of a few rumors. There are a lot of them who are very good. They're kind, so I hope you also give them an opportunity. So yes, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for dropping by. So next edition would be the Gravier models. Yes, we're going to talk about the gray area on the Gravier. That would be on next Tuesday, and I hope to see you there. Okay, have a good day ahead. I'll see you around. Bye bye.